Phoenix heat starts early. By 7:12 a.m., the sun had already bleached the parking lot, white and mean, like it wanted to interrogate the asphalt. Heat shimmered over the hood of my Corolla. The air smelled like hot copper and creosote after a stingy monsoon. I balanced an iced coffee on a stack of audit binders and swiped my badge. "Morning, Margo," the security guard said, fanning himself with a Sportsman's Warehouse flyer. "Morning, Tony," I said. "Tell the AC to be kind. Third floor. Sonoran Aero Components. Beige carpet. A potted snake plant that refused to die, probably because it had stronger boundaries than most of us. I'm Margo Flynn, 30, accountant. Not the boring kind, the stubborn kind. I like puzzles and paper trails. I like the way numbers confess if you know how to ask the right questions." My desk was a rectangle of order in a bullpen of chaos. 2 monitors, one always running a reconciliation sheet in night mode. A cracked take-no-sheet mug I should have thrown out years ago. A teeny cactus named PETA because he was small and prickly and hard to kill. At 7:31, an email landed like a stone in a still pond. Subject: Year-end bonuses. Immediate review. It was from my boss, Evan Rourke, VP of Finance. Think jawline you could slice bread with, and suits that fit like a second mortgage. Evan never used immediate unless something was on fire or he wanted to pretend it was. Team, join conference room Mesquite at 8 a.m. Sharp, mandatory. The bullpen hummed. Someone whispered, "Are they increasing it?" Someone else? "They're cutting. It's Phoenix. It's always cutting." I opened the bonus disbursement folder, the one I'd triple-checked last night, color-coding it like a rainbow had crashed in Excel. Everything matched: allocations, approvals, tax withholding, direct deposit instructions. We'd finished at 9:48 p.m. I'd left with a headache and a feeling I couldn't name, something like static behind drywall. At 7:55, I tucked a pen in my bun and headed for Mesquite. Evan stood at the end of the table, tie the color of condescension. HR's Linda was there too, expression neutral, the way only HR and poker champions achieve. A screen displayed a spreadsheet I recognized like my own handwriting. "Morning," Evan said, voice smooth. "Let's get right to it." The room quieted. Somebody's chair squeaked, timid. "Overnight, we identified significant irregularities in the bonus disbursement file," he continued. "Specifically, rerouted funds and unauthorized adjustments." I felt my stomach lower, an elevator floor. "Rerouted where?" I said, because my mouth misbehaves when my brain panics. Evan clicked to a tab labeled Audit Log, Names, Actions, Timestamps. My user ID appeared in a neat line next to the word Modify a nauseating number of times. The total variance, $412,500. My name looked foreign on the screen, like seeing your own face reversed. "That's not possible," I said. "We balanced it." "Apparently, you did not," Evan said. "And, as you can see, your credentials were used to." "My credentials were used?" Past tense passive voice is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, Evan. A couple heads turned. Linda's eyes flicked to me, unreadable. He zoomed into a cell, one of the high earners' bonuses, rerouted to a small bank in Flagstaff I'd never heard of. The account name made my skin prickle. MF Consulting, LLC. MF. My initials. My lungs forgot how. "That's not mine," I said, voice thin. There's no LLC, I'd never." "Margo," Linda said softly. "Let's stick to facts." "These are facts," I said. "The fact is, I did not touch those entries." "Then, how do you explain the audit log?" Evan asked, and it wasn't a question. "We have multi-factor authentication, device fingerprinting." "Can we see the timestamps?" I said. He scrolled. 2:37 a.m. Saturday. 2:39 a.m. 2:42 a.m. At 2:37 a.m. Saturday, I'd been at the Desert Botanical Gardens night exhibit. sipping watered-down prickly pear margaritas and taking grainy photos of glowing cacti with my friend Kat. I had the timestamps to prove it, my phone, Instagram, receipts. Even the guy who'd spilled his drink on my shoes. My throat constricted. I wasn't here, I said. I was, look, check the building access logs. My badge didn't. Evan raised a flat hand. We'll handle that internally. For now, we need to contain reputational risk and financial exposure. That means full suspension of access. The room tilted. Suspension, I said. You think I stole employee bonuses? You think I'd steal from the same people who bring me coffee when I look like death warmed over? No one is making judgments, Linda said, in the exact tone people use when they are. Evan continued. We've already alerted the CEO, and the board will convene an emergency session this evening. We'll need your laptop and your badge. Everyone suddenly found reasons to stare at their cuticles. But, I started. He leaned in, voice low. I have to say this, Margo. If there's anything you need to tell me, now is the time. Tell him? That my hands were shaking so hard my pen might sketch seismograph lines across my palms? That a lifetime of believing in systems had just cracked down the middle? I swallowed whatever it was and looked at the screen again. The numbers sat there, quiet and smug. A second tab caught my eye, barely visible at the bottom edge, named with a tilde and nothing else. Tilde. That was a programmer's dodge, a way to hide in plain sight, because most audit routines ignore special characters. I filed that away where I keep secrets. Right in front of me. Fine, I said, you can have the laptop, but I'm not admitting to anything I didn't do. No one asked you to, Evan said, but there was a smile behind his teeth. Outside, the sun had cranked up to apocalyptic. My reflection in the elevator doors looked like someone I'd pass on the street and pity. I pressed my lips together so they'd stop shaking. Kat called the second the elevator dinged. Heard anything? Are we beach-bound on our bonus? She said, forced cheer overlaid with anxiety. They think I stole it, I said. Silence. Then, that's not funny. I know, I said. Tell me where to meet you, she said, voice hardening into loyalty. I'm bringing carbs. I wanted to tell her everything, but the elevator stopped at 2. Evan stepped in. We rode down in quiet, the soft music mocking. He smelled like cedar and expensive aftershave, and something else, adrenaline. He spoke without looking at me. You were so promising, Margo. There it was, the weaponized disappointment. Don't, I said. Don't what? Don't say my name like you own it. He chuckled, a sound that wanted to be charming and landed like a slap. I handed my laptop to Linda in HR. She slid me a paper to sign that said, Acknowledgement, as if I were registering for a raffle. Your access is suspended effective immediately, she read. Please do not return to the premises until contacted. She said premises, like I'd set the building on fire. By noon, I was in my apartment, blinds drawn against the glare. The AC rattled like it too, was barely holding it together. I lined up every shred of normal iced coffee sweating on a coaster, pita on the windowsill, a playlist of background lo-fi beats, but the air was thick with panic. How does someone take your name, your ID, your reputation, and wear it like a mask? I opened my personal laptop and pulled up my calendar. Saturday night, Desert Botanical Garden, 8 p.m. I had photos, receipts. I started a folder called Defense because I'm an accountant, and sometimes we name things boldly when we need courage infused into the text. I emailed the CEO's assistant, polite but firm, requesting access to the access logs for Saturday. My hand steadied when I typed. Facts are my religion. They have saved me more times than men with suits ever have. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Unknown. Check cell, a 17. I stared. Unknown. In the bonus workbook. Cell a 17. Before they lock it down for good. My heart thudded a new rhythm. I had emailed that workbook to my personal account last night at 9:40 p.m., like I always do. Belt and suspenders. The link was still live. I clicked. The file opened in my browser, lagging like it knew it was guilty. A 17 on the main sheet was empty at first glance. But the formula bar showed a nested mess that looked like spaghetti had gone to law school. Hidden characters. An obfuscated V lookup that pointed at the mysterious tilde sheet I'd seen in the conference room. I unhid sheets. There it was. Tilde. Inside, a matrix mapped employee IDs to shadow accounts. Next to it, a column named Note, populated in gray font like it wanted to be ignored. MF Consulting, LLC. I felt cold in a way Phoenix rarely permits. Whoever did this wanted it to look like me. But their sloppiness was showing in the one place they thought no one would look. The Notes accountants write to themselves when they think no one's watching. A second text arrived. Unknown. You're not crazy? He's done this before. I typed so fast I nearly dislodged the keys. Me. Who is this? Unknown. Meet me at 5:30. The coffee place on 3rd and McKinley. Back patio. Me. He who? Unknown. Do you want to clear your name, or not? I stared at the phone. Every nerve in my body said, trap. Every number in that spreadsheet said lifeline. I forwarded the workbook to a brand new burner Gmail I made on the spot. Then I printed screenshots. Old school, ink on paper. If this was going to get ugly, I wanted receipts that couldn't be remote wiped. The door buzzer startled me. A sharp, aggressive buzz that meant delivery or doom. Package for Flynn, a voice crackled. I opened the lobby cam. A courier in a yellow cap held a flat envelope. I signed with a shaky stylus. The envelope was heavy, stiff, like legal paper. No return address. Inside, a letter on Sonoran arrow letterhead. Dear Miss Flynn, this letter is to inform you that the Board of Directors will convene an emergency session at 7 p.m. today, Monday, October 13, to evaluate your employment status and potential referral to law enforcement. My vision tunneled. The final line pulsed. Please be advised that a written statement in your name has been drafted for your review. A third text pinged. Unknown. Don't let him make you sign it. I put the letter down, palms sweaty. My laptop chimed a calendar update popped up with a new attachment. A draft statement, already authored, taglined, Margo admission. My cursor hovered. My mouth went dry. I double-clicked. The first sentence, loaded in black and final as a verdict. I admit to rerouting funds from the year-end bonus disbursement. I didn't write a single word of it. And in the corner of the window, a countdown I hadn't noticed before, ticked down an email, send later, scheduled to hit the entire board at 6:59 p.m., 41 minutes from now. My name was about to confess a crime I didn't commit. When you've got 41 minutes until your life detonates, the world slows down in strange ways. The AC hum feels louder, the light from your monitor turns surgical, and your heartbeat starts keeping time with the blinking cursor. I stared at the fake confession file, my name at the top, my signature forged at the bottom. I admit to rerouting funds. Each word felt like a nail in a coffin I hadn't built. I opened the file properties. Created, 4:12 a.m. Modified, 4:27 a.m. By Evan. His username right there in metadata. Like he'd signed his crime in invisible ink. He probably thought no one would look. Most people don't. But I'm not most people. My fingers trembled, but my training kicked in. You don't panic, you document. I took screenshots, saved copies, exported PDFs, 3 versions, 3 locations, local drive, external backup, encrypted cloud folder. Numbers don't lie, and neither do timestamps, except when someone like Evan edits the logs. The email timer glowed in the corner. Send. Later, 6:59 p.m. If that message hit the boardroom, it was over. No. Wait for the truth. No second chances. Just headlines and handcuffs. I had 40 minutes to stop an email from inside a system I no longer had access to. I grabbed my keys, tossed my laptop into my tote, and texted Kat. Me, coffee on 3rd, and McKinley. 5:30. Might need backup. Kat, you sound like a spy. Me, more like a patsy. Traffic on the 10 was a nightmare. red brake lights stretching toward downtown like a river of molten guilt. The sky was bleeding orange behind the skyline, and the city shimmered like it didn't care whose life was falling apart beneath it. I parked 2 blocks from the cafe and slipped into the back patio, a quiet, shaded courtyard, framed by bougainvillea and the smell of roasted beans. My pulse pounded in my ears. At 5:32, a man slid into the seat across from me. "Flynn?" he asked, cautious. He looked late 30 seconds, unshaven, jeans and a collared shirt that had seen better Mondays. A faint scar ran across his knuckle when he extended his hand. "Depends who's asking," I said. "Name's Trent," he said. "Used to be internal audit at Sonoran Arrow. Until I wasn't." The name tugged at something. I'd heard of him, a quiet guy who'd quit last year after personal disagreements with management. "Let me guess," I said. "Evan?" He nodded, stirring his coffee like he wanted to throttle it. "He's been skimming for years," Trent said quietly. "Not big stuff bonuses, small supplier accounts, expense reimbursements, always under the audit radar. He's good. Smarter than people give him credit for." "Not that smart," I said, sliding my laptop open. "He left fingerprints." Trent's eyes narrowed as he leaned in. I pulled up the file. He forged my signature. Scheduled it to send at 6:59. Trent muttered something that sounded like a curse. "Yeah, that's his move. Get ahead of the accusation. Make the board believe the confession came from you before you can defend yourself." I exhaled. "How do we stop it?" He rubbed his jaw. "You can't. Not directly. Not unless you're still on the internal network. The email queue runs through his security token." "I was suspended," I said. "Badge and laptop gone." "Then you need someone who still has access," he said. "Someone on your side." Kat appeared right then, sunglasses, messy bun, iced chai in one hand, loyalty in the other. "Am I interrupting a spy movie?" she asked, sitting down. "Kind of," I said. "Except the villain wears Hugo Boss." Trent briefed her fast. Kat's eyes went wide. "Wait, Evan's framing you? Like full-on corporate espionage?" "Pretty much." She looked at me, then at Trent. "So what's the plan, Jason Bourne?" Trent's mouth twitched. "There's a back door. I built it years ago for internal audits. Never told anyone. I can pull log data remotely, but I'll need a valid employee token." Kat sipped her chai, thinking. "What about mine?" I blinked. "You still work there?" "Yeah," she said slowly. "And if I accidentally VPN into the network to check something, no one blinks." "Kat, that's risky," I said. "He could trace it." "So?" she said. "You'd do it for me." She was right. I hated that she was right. We set up in the corner booth my laptop, her hotspot, Trent's flash drive. He typed with surgical precision, lines of code spilling down the screen. Kat watched for anyone suspicious. I watched the clock. 6:12 p.m. The network pinged alive. Trent grinned. "We're in." He pulled up a command console. I'm cloning his outgoing queue. If I can redirect the message before it hits the board's distribution list. He froze. "What?" I said. "He encrypted it with a rolling key," Trent muttered. "Every 60 seconds it re-encrypts. If I mistime it, I could trigger the send manually." "Meaning?" "Meaning it'll send immediately with your confession attached." I exhaled shakily. "So don't mistime it." "Easier said than done," he said. "You have to match his cycle exactly." 6:37 p.m. Trent wiped sweat off his temple. "Almost there. One more checksum." Kat squeezed my hand under the table. "We've got this, Margo." I nodded, but my brain was a hurricane. What if this doesn't work? What if he finds out and sends something worse? What if I really do end up the scapegoat? The countdown hit 6 hours 58 minutes and 12 seconds. Trent cursed softly. "I can't cancel it." He locked admin privileges. "So what now?" I asked. He typed furiously. "We don't stop it, we replace it." Kat leaned in. "Replace it with what?" Trent's grin was feral. "The truth." He inserted a flash drive. The screen flickered, lines of text rearranging. He redirected the queued message to a duplicate draft. I'm overwriting the attachment with your screenshots, logs, metadata, everything. I felt a surge of adrenaline. You can do that? I can try. 6 hours, 58 minutes, and 47 seconds. The cursor blinked. Trent hit enter. The file uploaded, progress bar crawling painfully slow. 12%, 39%, 77%. Then the bar froze. Come on, he muttered. The cafe Wi-Fi hiccuped. A buffering icon spun like a taunt. 6 hours, 59 minutes. The screen flashed. Message sent. We all froze. Did it? Kat started. Trent opened the sent folder. It's gone. Gone? I asked. He clicked the details. It's sent, but I can't tell which version went out. My stomach flipped. Either the board just received Evan's forged confession from me, or they just received proof that he's been stealing for years. Kat whispered. So, are we heroes or unemployed felons? I stared at the clock. 7 and 37 seconds. PM. My phone buzzed. A new email. From Board Secretary Sonoran Arrow. Subject: Emergency session. Immediate response required. I opened it, heart hammering. Inside was one line. Margo, please come to headquarters immediately. Bring everything you have. I looked at Trent. They know. He nodded slowly. Then it worked. Or, Kat said, eyes darting between us. They're setting a trap. I grabbed my bag, laptop still warm from the near meltdown. Either way, I said, standing. I'm not running. Trent leaned back, half smile, half warning. Then you'd better be ready to play their game. The night air hit us like a furnace as we stepped outside. Phoenix was glowing under the dark glass towers, reflecting sunset embers, the city pretending to be calm. My phone buzzed again. Another message. Unknown number. Same as before. Unknown. You did good. But he's already 2 moves ahead. Unknown. Check your lease. The next leak's not at work, it's at home. I froze. Home. What is it? Kat asked. I looked at them both, pulse quickening. He's not done framing me. And then, from across the street, a black sedan idled, windows tinted, engine low. When I turned my head, the headlights flicked on, and that's when I knew someone was watching. The black sedan didn't move. It just sat there across the street, engine humming low, like a heartbeat in the dark. Kat shifted beside me. Margo? Friend of yours? Not unless my friends upgraded to government-issue windows. Trent followed the line of my gaze, his jaw tightening. We need to move. Now. He steered us toward his car, an old gray Tacoma, with a cracked windshield, and a dashboard that rattled like loose change. My pulse pounded as I glanced back. The sedan's headlights blinked once, twice, then turned off. Tell me that's not as creepy as it looks, Kat muttered. Creepier, Trent said, because they don't need to follow you if they're already inside your life. The words hit harder than the heat radiating off the asphalt. Inside my life. I thought of the text. Check your lease. Something twisted in my gut. I need to go home, I said. Trent started the engine. Bad idea. If Evan's moving against you, your place could be bugged. Or worse, planted evidence. That's exactly why I need to go, I said. If he's setting me up again, I'm not giving him a head start. Kat gave me a look halfway between fear and loyalty. 6:45 p.m. The drive back to my apartment was a blur of red lights and adrenaline. Downtown Phoenix faded into strip malls and stucco condos. The air outside shimmered, even though the sun had already slipped below the skyline. When we pulled into my complex, everything looked normal. Too normal. A delivery van idled near the entrance. My upstairs neighbor's wind chimes clinked in the dry breeze. The courtyard light flickered the way it always did. But my apartment door, Unit 3B, wasn't closed all the way. Just a sliver open, Kat whispered. Margo. I held up a hand, stepped closer, and pushed the door gently. It swung open without a sound. The lights were off. The air smelled faintly of metal and lemon cleaner. Someone had been here. I moved slowly, scanning the living room. My couch cushions were slightly misaligned. The cactus, Peta, had been moved 3 inches to the right. The tiny layer of dust beneath it was disrupted, like fingerprints in sand. My breath caught. They searched it. Trent slipped on latex gloves from his pocket. Of course he carried them, and knelt beside my coffee table. They were careful, but not careful enough. He pointed to a corner where a faint scuff mark trailed from the wall to the carpet. Tripod. Someone set up a small camera here. Kat checked the kitchen. Margo, she called. Your mail's on the counter. It's open. I hurried over. My lease, insurance papers, and tax documents spread out like a deck of cards. The top page was my lease renewal form, the one I'd signed last month. Only now, it had a new addition. An addendum in fine print at the bottom. Tenant acknowledges and consents to data security monitoring by property management for financial compliance purposes. My heart sank. That wasn't there before. Trent squinted. He's extending the frame. If he can prove you were hiding stolen money or documents at home, this clause gives him legal justification to discover it. He forged a fake lease addendum, Kat said, eyes wide. That's insane. Trent stood. Not insane. Smart. He plants a hidden hard drive, reports it as an audit discovery, and suddenly your whole apartment's a crime scene. I swallowed hard. Then we need to find whatever he planted before he sends someone to find it for him. We searched everything. Drawers, closet, couch cushions, behind paintings. Kat checked the vent covers while Trent inspected outlets and light fixtures. I tore through my filing cabinet, heart hammering with each drawer that clanged open. Then I saw it, a black USB stick, tucked between my old pay stubs and a stack of bank statements. My initials were printed on the label MF, just like the fake company name from the spreadsheet. My stomach dropped. He planted this. Trent took a step closer. Don't plug it in. Whatever's on it could auto-execute or upload. So, how do we prove it's fake? Kat asked. We isolate it, he said. Sandbox it. I can run it on a clean system offline. I nodded, but the sound of tires crunching outside froze us all. Headlights swept across the blinds. A knock followed. Firm, rhythmic. Phoenix PD. Miss Flynn, we need to speak with you. Kat whispered. You've got to be kidding me. Trent cursed under his breath. They're early. Evan must have tipped them off, I said, panic flooding my chest. Another knock, sharper this time. Miss Flynn. We have a warrant to enter if necessary. I looked at Trent. What do I do? He thought fast. You can't hide. That'll make you look guilty. But you can control what they find. How? He grabbed the USB and slipped it into his pocket. You didn't know it existed. You never saw it. Understand? I nodded. Kat, he said, stay calm. Be a witness, not a participant. Kat squeezed my arm. We've got your back. I opened the door. 2 officers stood there mid-40 seconds, professional, not aggressive but watchful. Behind them was a woman in a navy blazer, badge, clipped to her belt. Miss Flynn? She asked. Yes. I'm Detective Carla Mendez, Financial Crimes Division. We received a report of possible evidence related to an ongoing embezzlement investigation. May we come in? I stepped aside. You're welcome to look. Her partner began a methodical sweep, gloved hands, careful but efficient. They photographed, bagged a few folders, and asked questions I'd been rehearsing answers to since this morning. No, I didn't move company funds. No, I didn't authorize MF Consulting. Yes, I have proof I was off-site during the alleged edits. Detective Mendez seemed measured, curious, not convinced either way. Then her partner called from the bedroom. Detective. Found something. My blood iced. He held up a small black USB stick in an evidence bag, identical to the one Trent had pocketed. What the? I whispered. Trent's eyes flicked to me. His expression said it all. He planted 2. Detective Mendez looked at me. You recognize this? I shook my head. No, that's not mine. She studied me for a long moment. We'll examine it at the lab. For now, I suggest you make yourself available. We may have more questions. I When they left, the silence hit like an explosion in reverse. Kat sank into a chair. He's good. Like, too good. Trent exhaled. He's getting desperate. That's when people make mistakes. I leaned against the counter, trying to slow my breathing. He's going to make sure everyone believes I'm guilty before I can prove anything. Trent looked at me, steady. Then we change the narrative before he does. How? He hesitated. There's one person who can force the board to reopen the investigation before the police finish theirs. Who? The CEO, Clara Dalton. I frowned. She trusts Evan. She trusts results, he corrected. You give her something undeniable, something she can't bury even if she wants to, and you turn this around. Kat's eyes brightened. What about the hidden sheet you found earlier? The tilde tab? I nodded slowly. If I can show that it links directly to Evan's access logs, we'll have proof he was the one rerouting funds. Trent cracked his knuckles. Then, that's our next move. We go straight to the source. Kat raised a brow. You mean back into the company network? You said they locked her out. They did, he said, a small smile forming, but I still know a way in. My phone buzzed. Another message. Unknown number. Unknown. He's not working alone. Unknown. If you go after him tonight, don't go to HQ. Meet me where it started. Below it, a pin dropped. Sonoran Aero Finance Office. Building 3. I stared at it. The same building where it all began. Trent looked over my shoulder. That's not coincidence. Kat whispered. You think it's a trap? Probably, I said. But if someone's reaching out, maybe they have more than we do. Trent nodded slowly. Then we go prepared. Outside, the desert night had deepened, a low hum of cicadas filling the silence. Somewhere out there, Evan Rourke was moving his pieces, and now it was my turn. Phoenix at night feels different. Quieter, but not safer. The heat clings to you like guilt, and every streetlight hums just loud enough to make your nerves twitch. We drove in silence, heading north toward Sonoran Aero's campus, an industrial complex that looked like ambition and paranoia had a baby. Low beige buildings, mirrored glass, security cameras perched like vultures on every corner. Kat sat in the back seat, scrolling through her phone, muttering, "This is crazy. You realize we're about to break into your old job?" Trent didn't look away from the road. Technically, we're not breaking in. We're revisiting. That's not how the law works, she said. I stared out the window. Neither is framing your employee and fabricating a confession. Kat fell quiet. We pulled into the far end of the parking lot. Most of the lights in Building 3 were off, except for a faint glow in the finance wing. I recognized the silhouette of Evan's office through the glass-perfect blinds, perfect order, the kind of symmetry that hides chaos underneath. Trent killed the headlights. Here's the deal, he said. I'll get us inside through the maintenance access. I still have a badge from when I worked internal audit deactivated, but the back entrance reader runs on a different network. It won't flag the main system. And once we're in, I asked, you head to your old workstation. I'll access the local backup of the financial database. If we can find Evan's login activity around the time the reroutes happened, we'll have the timestamps we need. And me? Kat asked. Trent grinned faintly. You keep watch. If anyone shows up, text bingo. Then we vanish. Kat exhaled. Bingo. Got it. Because that's not suspicious at all. The air inside the building was cold, sterile, and humming, the faint buzz of fluorescent lights overhead. Every footstep echoed against the tile. Walking down that hallway again hit me like a punch. My desk was still there, untouched. The sticky note I'd left Friday night still clinging to the monitor. Remember coffee filters, a ghost of normalcy. Trent plugged a small drive into the workstation tower. All right, he murmured. I'm in the shadow archive. Give me a sec. I hovered beside him, anxiety prickling under my skin. How much time do we have? Depends on whether Evan's still here. He is, I said. I can feel it. He glanced at me. You really think he's the type to work late? No, I said. He's the type to make sure I never work again. Kat's voice buzzed in my ear through the Bluetooth. You've got 5 minutes before security makes its next loop around the east wing. Copy, Trent said. Lines of data scrolled across the screen. Timestamps, access logs, IP addresses. Then he froze. There, he whispered. See that? October 11, 2:37 a.m. The first reroute entry. Logged in under your ID, but look at the device signature. It's not yours. I leaned closer. Whose is it? He highlighted the hash. A match appeared. E. Rourke, CFO Terminal 2. I felt a shock of vindication surge through me. He used his own machine and spoofed my login. That's rookie-level arrogance. Yeah, Trent said. But arrogance is how people like him get sloppy. He copied the logs to his flash drive. We've got proof, Margo. This ties the reroute directly to him. I wanted to breathe. I wanted to cry. But before I could do either, the lights flickered. Kat's voice snapped through the earpiece. Hey, bingo, big bingo. Someone just pulled into the lot. Black sedan. My stomach dropped. Trent yanked the drive free. Move. We ducked down the hallway, heading for the maintenance exit, but the automatic lights triggered behind us. Footsteps echoed. Slow. Controlled. Evan's voice cut through the silence. You never could leave well enough alone, could you, Margo? I turned. He stood at the end of the corridor, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up, confidence radiating like cologne. He held a keycard in one hand and something worse in the other, my old laptop. I was hoping you'd come back, he said. Trent stepped slightly in front of me. We're not here to fight, Evan. Oh, I think you are, Evan said, his smirk sharp. You're trespassing on private property, stealing confidential data. You're making this easy for me. Framing me wasn't easy enough? I said. He chuckled. Come on, Margo. You're too smart to think this is about you. You were convenient, disposable. Every company needs a fall guy or girl. You doctored the bonus sheet. You forged my signature. He tilted his head. And yet, who's the one sneaking into restricted offices after being suspended? The sound of approaching footsteps echoed from behind us. Security. Trent, I whispered, we need to move. Working on it, he said, slipping the flash drive into his sock. If they catch us, they can't find this. Evan watched us, calm, calculating. You know what's funny? I almost respected you, Margo. You had the brains, the discipline, but you actually believed hard work mattered. That's not how this world works. You're right, I said, voice shaking but steady. Because people like you keep rewriting the rules. I stepped forward. You framed me to cover your theft, but you forgot something. Numbers, remember. They don't care who you are, they just tell the truth. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Truth is, whatever the board believes, at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Trent grabbed my arm. We're out of time. We turned toward the maintenance exit, and the alarms exploded. A shrill, mechanical wail filled the corridor, lights flashing red. Kat's voice screamed in my ear. Security's running! 2 guards heading your way. Evan stepped back, calm as a conductor. You tripped the motion grid. Now, you're mine. Trent cursed, shoving open the exit door. Go! We bolted down the service corridor, alarms echoing off the concrete walls. My pulse thundered. We burst into the night air, the desert heat slapping my skin like reality itself. We sprinted across the parking lot toward Trent's truck. The black sedan's headlights flared, engine roaring to life. Drive! Kat shouted as we piled in. Trent floored it, the truck fishtailed, tires screaming. The sedan followed, relentless. Headlights flashed behind us, closing fast. Margo! Kat yelled. What's on that drive, proof or a death sentence? Both, I said, and we're not letting him have it. The sedan rammed our bumper, metal grinding. I clutched the dashboard. Trent jerked the wheel, swerving down a side street. The truck jolted over a speed bump, sparks flying. We tore through a construction zone, dust clouding the rearview mirror, but Evan didn't stop. He's not letting up, Kat shouted. Then we make him, Trent growled. He slammed the brakes. The sedan swerved, overcorrected its front wheel, clipped the curb. The car spun, skidding sideways in a cloud of dust. We didn't wait to see it stop. Trent hit the gas again, turning down a quiet residential road. The alarms were far behind us now, but my heart was still screaming. Kat finally spoke. Okay. So now what? We have proof. We just committed corporate burglary. And the CFO probably called the cops 5 minutes ago. I looked down at my trembling hands. Now we make sure the board hears the truth before he can twist it again. Trent nodded. Then we need to get to someone who'll listen before morning. Kat frowned. Who's gonna believe us over him? I stared at the horizon, the first hint of dawn bleeding over the mountains. Someone who hates him enough to care, I said. And then it hit me, the name. The one person who'd once left Sonoran Arrow with a scandal of her own. Someone who knew what it was like to be destroyed by Evan Rourke. Natalie Chen, former CFO, fired 5 years ago for unauthorized accounting practices. Rumor was Evan set her up too. Trent met my eyes, reading my expression. You know who to call, don't you? I nodded. Oh, I know exactly who. But before I could dial, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Unknown. He knows you have the drive. He's coming for it tonight. Unknown. And if you think you can trust Natalie, don't. The message ended with a photo. Grainy. Taken through glass. Me, Trent, and Kat inside the office less than an hour ago. My blood ran cold. Someone else had been in that building. Watching, and they wanted me to know it. We pulled off the freeway and parked under a dead streetlight behind an old strip mall. The desert air was still, thick with tension and the faint smell of burnt rubber. Trent cut the engine. All right, he said quietly. We have 2 options, run or fight. Kat was pacing, chewing her thumbnail. Run where? He's got cops, lawyers, and probably half the board eating out of his hand. We can't just disappear. We don't, I said. We expose him. I pulled out my phone. Natalie Chen. She's the one person who knows Evan's game from the inside. Kat frowned. You mean the ex-CFO who vanished after her resignation? She's not exactly gonna meet us for coffee. Maybe not, I said. But she responded to my LinkedIn message 6 months ago when I congratulated her on starting her consulting firm in Tucson. She said, and I quote, "Someday, I'll tell you why I left Sonoran." Trent raised a brow. Then tonight's someday. We reached Tucson, just after 2 a.m. The city lights shimmered like a mirage against the black desert. Natalie's office was in a converted warehouse, glass doors, minimalist design, a single security light flickering over the entrance. I knocked. For a moment, nothing. Then a voice through the intercom. You've got 10 seconds to tell me why you're here, or I'm calling the cops. Natalie, it's Margo Flynn from Sonoran. I think Evan's pulling the same stunt he did to you. Silence. Then, the door buzzed open. Natalie Chen looked nothing like the disgraced CFO I'd seen in old company photos. She was sharper now, short hair, blazer over a black tank top, eyes that said she'd been burned before and learned to enjoy the fire. Come in, she said, and make it fast. We told her everything. The forged bonus file. The fake confession. The planted evidence. The car chase. When I handed her Trent's flash drive, she studied it like a surgeon preparing for a delicate operation. You got guts, she said finally, and bad luck. Evan Rourke's not just a thief. He's a strategist. You sound like you know him, I said. Oh, I do, she said bitterly. He used me the same way. Fed me false data. Made me sign off on financials that looked fine, until the auditors came. When the smoke cleared, I was the one holding the bag. He called it career Darwinism. Trent leaned forward. We can prove he's doing it again, but we need access to the board's internal server before the morning meeting. Natalie smirked. You're in luck. I built that system. What? I said. She tapped a code into her computer. Sonoran never replaced my architecture. Within minutes, lines of data filled her monitor, transaction histories, correspondence logs, board minutes. She navigated like a ghost through old walls. Here, she said. Evan's been routing small consulting fees to shell companies for over 2 years. Total over $3 million. He's been using dummy vendors under employee initials. Mine included, I said quietly. Natalie nodded. Classic Rourke. Always needs a scapegoat. Then her expression darkened. But you've got another problem. You've been watched. She pulled up a hidden system log. An unrecognized terminal had accessed her servers 30 minutes before we arrived. The IP traced back not to Sonoran but to her building. Someone's inside, Trent muttered. The lights flickered. A car engine revved outside. Natalie's eyes met mine. You led him here. The sound of a door slamming echoed through the warehouse. Trent stood, pulling the drive from the computer. Grab your stuff, we're leaving. But before we could move, the glass door at the front shattered inward. A man stepped through. Sunglasses, black jacket, and behind him, Evan Rourke. He looked infuriatingly calm. Margo. You just can't stop digging. Can you? Natalie folded her arms. Still sending others to do your dirty work, Evan? Hello, Natalie, he said smoothly. Still bitter about your golden parachute? Bitter, she said, is when you lose. I'm here because you finally picked a fight with someone who kept receipts. Trent whispered to me, get the flash drive to the truck. Go now. I started to move, but Evan caught the motion. He said. You think you can outsmart me? You really think anyone's going to believe a suspended accountant over a decorated CFO? I met his gaze. No, I said, but they'll believe data. He smirked. You mean that little flash drive? Cute. Too bad you copied a dummy file. The real logs were overwritten 2 hours ago. My heart dropped. He leaned closer. You think I don't know Trent here kept his back door open? Please. I learned from the best. The moment you accessed the archive, I wiped the originals. Trent's face went pale. He's bluffing. Evan's smile widened. Am I? The monitor behind Natalie flickered again, file directories vanishing line by line. Gone, Kat whispered. We're screwed. No, Natalie said, eyes narrowing. He forgot one thing. She tapped a key, bringing up an old backup folder labeled Pre-Laudit Archive. Evan's smirk faltered. Your arrogance is always your weakness, she said. You never deleted the ghost logs. They're immutable snapshots. And they still show your access trail. Trent exhaled. We can still pull them. Evan lunged forward, but I stepped between them. You don't get to frame anyone else, he sneered. You think you've won? I held up my phone, showing the live stream already running broadcasting to an encrypted channel I'd created earlier. I think the board's watching right now. His jaw tightened. You wouldn't. I already did, I said. Smile for the audit committee. Natalie hit send. The entire backup archive uploaded to the board's secure network. Evan's mask cracked, rage flashing behind his eyes. He turned, bolting for the door, shouting at his bodyguard. Get the drive. But Trent was faster. He grabbed the flash drive, hurled it out the shattered window, and sprinted after it. Kat followed. Evan's bodyguard lunged at me. Natalie swung a desk lamp with surprising force, knocking him sideways. Go, Margo. I ran. We burst into the desert night. Headlights and sirens already slicing through the darkness. By sunrise, the world had changed. I sat in a glass conference room at Sonoran HQ. Same table where I'd once been accused, same air-conditioned tomb where Evan had smiled through my humiliation. Only this time, he wasn't smiling. 2 uniformed officers flanked him. His tie was gone, his confidence cracked. On the table sat Natalie's archive, verified and time-stamped. The immutable logs showed everything, every fake vendor, every reroute, every fabricated confession. The board chair cleared her throat. Mr. Rourke, we have verified evidence of financial misconduct, data forgery, and obstruction of an internal audit. You are hereby terminated and referred to law enforcement. Evan tried to speak, but the sound died in his throat. When the door shut, I finally exhaled. Clara Dalton, the CEO, turned to me. Miss Flynn, it appears we owe you an apology. An apology, I said quietly, won't fix the people he stole from. She nodded, expression tight. You're right. But maybe you can. She slid a folder across the table. Interim Director of Compliance and Audit, Sonoran Aero Components. I stared at it, speechless. Clara said, "You built the paper trail that saved this company. You turned a frame job into a forensic masterpiece. We'd like you to rebuild what he broke." For the first time in days, I smiled. "On one condition," I said. "Every employee gets their stolen bonuses, with interest." She nodded. "Done." That afternoon, I stood on the building's rooftop, Phoenix sun blazing overhead. Kat and Trent joined me, coffees in hand. Kat grinned. "You realize you went from accused felon to boss in, like 12 hours? "Yeah," I said, smiling. "Numbers don't lie. They just wait to be heard." Trent nodded. "What'll you do now?" "Start by rewriting the security protocols," I said. "Then maybe sleep for a week." My phone buzzed. A new message. "Unknown. You did it. But this isn't over." Evan wasn't working alone. Attached a single image. A financial statement. Another company. Another name. Dalton Aerospace Holdings. My smile faded. Kat saw my face. "What is it?" I pocketed the phone. "Nothing that can't wait. For now." We watched the sunrise burn over the same city that had tried to bury me. I'd been the scapegoat. Now I was the savior. And somewhere out there, another story was already beginning. Never underestimate the truth or the woman who knows how to prove it.